Okay, so this is how I'm going to start off the beef stew. So last night I marinated some diced beef in the Brewboard silky that we got given from Brewboard. I'm just going to drain the liquid off now. And you really get the smell of the rich lactose stout here. So I'm just going to flour this now, just so that it gives it a little bit more a coating when we seal it off, and that will actually act as a bit of a thickener as well in the stew sauce. I will also dry out the any beer left on it, and as it cooks, it will cook into the flavour rather than just be wet. Nice hot heat on the pan, nice thick top pan this one. Bit of oil, not too much, but you do need a little bit in there. And then in with the meat. Now that's sealed off, just going to add the beer back in because the flour is starting to cook because it's on quite a high temperature. Let's cool it right down, so I'm just going to make sure I've got all of the flour off the bottom of the pan. Just mixing it all in. We don't need to be too precise with the cutting. Just rough dice. That's fine. Yeah, so I've turned it down to a fairly low temperature now. It's not very high on the gas. Just sort of making sure that it's all mixed in nicely. You can see the beef's still very tender. We don't want to burn anything at all. Going to put probably about another half pint in with this mix because it's looking a little bit dry. Beautiful sight. And again, just making sure that anything that's stuck to the bottom or starting to stick is coming up so it doesn't burn. Very beery. Okay, so we're going to be putting the carrots into the beef stew. Again, they're quite hard vegetables, so they take a while to cook, so quite a sized chunk. Going to be cooking it for a long time obviously as well, so it'll have plenty of time to become tender. Potatoes to the beef stew now. It's a good thing to have a nice chunky bit of vegetable in there. Goes well with the carrot, gives the stew a bit of body. Keep the skin on the potatoes because it's good for you. Nothing wrong with that. And again, rough chop on the potatoes is absolutely fine. So I'm just going to check the seasoning, because obviously we've only seasoned the beef in the marinade so far. Yeah, definitely needs more. I do like a lot of pepper in my stew, but I'll try and be cautious. So now that's all in there, we can just let that cook down for a bit, let it stew, and sit down and have a beer. So we're going to be using the rosemary from the balcony to flavour the beef and ale stew. So with the beef and ale dish, I've decided to go for a mix of contrasting and complementary beers. So it was made with the Brewboard Silky, which we haven't got the can of because they did this specially for us, straight out of the keg. This is a milk stout, nice and smooth, lots of latent sweetness because of the lactose, of course. Smells lovely and rich, almost oaty. And that's quite sweet. But the bitterness is combined with all the other ingredients in the dish, so quite happy with that contrast as well as complement. So you can drink the beer with the dish that has gone into the beer. The Moonshine Cellarman Stout is a little bit stronger at 6%. It's a bit more full-bodied, a little bit more bitter as well. Yeah, more of a classic stout this. And if you're into your dark beers, this is fantastic. It's well rounded, it's well balanced in terms of bitterness, and a little bit of creaminess and malt sweetness. And yeah, if you like a strong beer with your strong flavoured stew, then go for this one. So this is also from Brewboard. This is Father Grime, which we tried with the other beef dish in the kitchen, and this is a dry hopped stout, so very lively as well. Now I think Brewboard don't like calling this a black IPA because it's a fashionable thing not to call things black IPAs anymore. But also it is just a very, very nice, rich, dry hop stout with quite a lot of bitterness. So that's got a much more hoppy aroma to it. And the bitterness will contrast with the sweetness of, say, the carrots and the lactose that's come from the silky that's in this stew. But still very rich. Lovely and lively too. Yeah, that's nice and bitter, it's hoppy, it's fruity. So moving on from the complementary beers, obviously the Father Grime, the dry hop stout, the Moonshine, the more traditional Cellarman stout, again 6%, it's quite a bit more balanced in terms of bitterness and sweetness, and the silky that we cooked the dish with in the first place from Brewboard. I'm going to have another sip of this because it's lovely. Silky smooth, that's why they call it silky, so I'm told. So we're going to move on to a couple more beers, both from Brewboard, which are a little bit more contrasting. So if you're not a huge fan of your dark beers, you can still enjoy a more crisp, refreshing, bitter, contrasting beverage with your very rich stew. So what we're going to start with is the Rex Dry Hop Lager, 4.6%, crystal clear as you can see, nice level of carbonation but not too heavy. Beautiful colour. So you've got the grainy notes from the malt, obviously, but still quite a hoppy, fragrant aroma. Lightly floral, but not overly so. Taste is fruity rather than floral. It's very much a palate cleanser when you're having something like this, which is so rich. And the ripcord, which is their, I say standard, it's definitely above standard in terms of quality. Session Pale Ale, 4.3%. Again, great aroma on the nose, very, very hoppy. A little bit of pine, hint of citrus. Yeah, and that's more sort of your modern pale ale. And that very much, like I say, it cleanses the palate with the strong, rich flavours of the stew. So the sweetness of the carrots and the silky that go into the dish. If you want something to contrast with the richness of the food, something refreshing such as a session pale or a dry hop lager will really hit the spot.